Welcome, everyone. It's another night in the IHC craft room, and I'm so glad you're here to craft with me tonight. This is live number 8 in the holiday how-to series, and we're going to be dotting some white on white pine lids, which is a weird thing to dot, I know, but I'm going to tell you why. Because this weekend, I'm going to be making some 15-ounce candles in these brand new matte white Lux jars from Village Craft and Candle. They're super pretty, and I'm going to make a white on white candle for winter. So the white on white is going to be this white pine lid, and we're going to dot paint that lid so that in the end, we'll have a beautifully scented candle with a hand dot painted lid. So let's work on that tonight. I'm going to get started, and I don't have any plan whatsoever. The only thing I was planning to do is use the color white. So let me show you. I'm using this multi-surface satin folk art white paint. It's titanium white. I haven't used this in a really long time, and I'm not sure what kind of consistency it's going to be. So we're going to cross our fingers that we like it. And today I'm going to be using my dotting tools. But before I do that, let's talk a little bit about alternative options if you don't have dotting tools at home. So you can use things like the top of a pencil eraser when you want like a bigger dot. You can use the actual tip of your pencil as well to make dots. I often use the top of my paintbrushes. Excellent opportunity for dots there because there are so many different sizes depending on which ones you have. I use toothpicks all the time. I also use shish kebab skewers, those really long ones. So that gives you a couple of options, this end as well as a very, very fine end on this side. So try to be imaginative. Look around your house and see what you can make dots out of. And if you want to invest in some dotting tools, they're not super expensive. I got mine off of Amazon. I want to say a pack of these ones, particularly these stylus type, are probably somewhere between 10 and 15 bucks. And I've had these forever. I mean, probably, I don't even know how long, easily 6 or 7 years I've had them. I'm actually surprised I haven't lost any now that I'm talking about it. Okay, anyway, let's move on. We're going to be doing some whatever we feel like designs on these lids. Assuming this paint works with me. Okay, it seems a bit thick, so we're going to see. Now, this is a very smooth surface, which is why I chose to use a multi-surface paint. Normally, I would use this acrylic paint from Dollarama, which is my go-to paint. I have some paint on my finger already. This is not a good start, Mary. Okay. But I wanted to do a multi-surface because it is really a smooth, beautifully polished surface. And I don't want to scuff it up, which is what you really should do when you're trying to get your paint to adhere. So I'm hoping that the multi-surface function of this paint is going to do what I needed to do, which is adhere to the surface. Okay, I think for this one, I'm going to start with, I kind of want to do a mandala on this one. How did I manage to flick something into my paint? What was even on my hand? A floof of some kind. It's a sparkle. Oh no. Oh no, don't start with the sparkles. Okay. I'm going to actually do a big dot right in the center. Do I want a 10? Hold on. I'm going to do something I don't normally do, which is I'm going to probably use some guidelines today because I really don't want to be off center with this. So I have this tool that I picked up from Happy Dotting Company, which is an excellent place to get things like molds and dotting tools. I also got these dotting tools from there. Great customer service. I think she's based out of the UK. Her name is Angela. Check them out if you're interested. And this is a nice floopy silicone mold, but I also have this this harder plastic one. We'll see. So I'm going to try to find what looks like the center to me. I really should measure it. Am I going to measure it, do you think? No, I'm really not. So let's just accept that now. And I'm basically just eyeballing to make sure that I'm pretty much even. I'm not even here and there. Okay. All right. I'm willing to accept this. Now I'm using a white chalk pencil. I'm hopeful I'll be able to see it because chalk pencils are much easier to get off than like regular pencils. I'm just going to mark the circle all the way around. Can you hear this squeaking? I don't know why I find this so amusing, but I do. Okay, let's see if we can see it. I can see it. I don't know if you can because, you know, you're not here. But I can see it, so I'm going to keep going with it. I don't normally use guidelines, which I'm sure you can tell by the fact that I didn't really find my center and I just kind of was eyeballing it. And that's because I have a philosophy when it comes to dot painting, which is I really enjoy the imperfections. I enjoy seeing the dots that are a little bit wonky and the things that are slightly off center or not perfectly in alignment with their friends. I think it's fun. I think that's what makes it, you know, handmade. I've found tons of mandala stuff like, you know, mass produced in places like Walmart or whatever. And they're beautiful, but they're not handmade. They're not one of a kind. They're not unique. And they're not made by my own two little hands. Little hands, okay. With my big man hands over here. Guys, can we talk about my nails for a second? Like, can you see? It's a cat eye. Get out of here. I didn't even know that was a thing. I haven't been able to stop looking at my nails since I got my nails done. And I don't even care how shallow that makes me sound because they're so pretty. And I'm a little mesmerized. Okay. We are almost done. I'm not going to be doing this on all of the lids. I have 4 lids here because I'm intending to make 2 candles on Saturday morning live. And I normally prepare 2 ahead of time so that we can complete the whole process together. Do I want to put some on the edges? No. Okay, I can see that. Let me see if I can show you. Oh, geez, I almost threw it across the room. Can you kind of see it? Can you see it? I can see it. Okay, that's the important thing here. I'm going to say that this is probably close to being actually centered properly. So good for me. We're going to start. Actually, I think I want a really big dot in the middle. So let's go with a size 14, which is very ambitious considering I don't know how this paint is going to perform for me. Let's see. Oh, I got to switch my glasses. I need my old lady glasses on now, as opposed to my middle-aged lady glasses that I was wearing before. Okay, here we go. Beautiful. Now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but this is a thick paint, as I mentioned, and it caused a peak to form in the paint when I dotted it. You see that there? Now, you could leave that. I mean, it's up to you, but I don't want to. So I'm going to actually use another dotting tool, a stylus, to blend that out a little bit. Now, I'm going to keep having this problem because this paint is thick. So we have a couple of options. Option 1 is to drop something in here like an additive, which I don't have any because I don't usually do that. Generally speaking, if there is a paint I don't like for dotting purposes, I just don't dot paint with it. I will use it for other crafts. But since we've started down this road, we're going to continue and see how it goes. As I said, I don't mind the peaks. I actually like it because it gives, to me, it gives texture. But to have such a high peak on the big center dot is not my jam, so I flattened it out. So let's see what we do with the rest. Now, I have a circle outlined with my template right here. But I actually want to go closer than that first. So I'm going to just do small dots all the way around this center dot. And I'm using the opposite end of my 3mm stylus. This side is the same on all of my stylus, and I would say it's a 1.25. Do I know for sure that it is? No. But go ahead and prove me wrong. I dare you. Yeah, this is a very thick paint, and all of these dots have a peak. I'm cool with that, especially for this one, because I feel like I really want this to be a textured mandala. But I'm willing to try my regular acrylic paint on this. Not on this exact lid, but maybe on another lid. And we'll see how that goes. Hi, Tony. Thanks for dotting along with me today. I don't know if anybody is dotting with me or if you're just chilling with me. But if you are, I hope you're drinking something nice and cozy and you're comfy. I love sitting in a comfy chair with a warm cup of coffee and watching something that interests me when I have like 20 minutes to kill. But hang out with me all night, guys. I'm going to be here for at least, I don't know, an hour. Could be more, could be less. I'm getting a lot of pile up on my dotting tool, which is why I just wiped it off. When you start noticing that you're getting a lot of paint piling up on your stylus or your regular dotting tools, like the rods, you really want to make note of that because it will definitely change the size of your dots over time and make them a little bit bigger because of that extra bit. Okay, we're coming up on the end of this row, and spacing the last couple dots is always a challenge, in my opinion. So here's a number one rule that I follow that I would love to share with you, which is if you're not sure, leave it. Leave it and move on to something else and then come back later because everything will be dry and then you don't have to stress yourself about getting it done. Okay, I would say that is enough room for one dot. See that? And it's enough room that I can do it comfortably. So I'm going to go ahead and do it as opposed to letting it dry. Oh, I did it. I got to tell you, I shook a little. All right. I'm actually going to mix this paint a little bit and see if I can get it to chill out a little bit. Now, you could put even a little drop of water in here. I'm not a big fan of adding water to paint, especially if it's something you're going to keep long term because, I don't know, it could cause you problems. But I just go for paint that is the consistency I want, which this is not. Okay. I'm going to do this 3mm size dot now, and I am going to follow these lines and kind of do like a cross. I'm not going to do a full circle like I did with this last row. No, I want you bigger than that. That's good. Now, you don't need to rotate your piece, in this case, the lid. You can keep it in the same position and then just, dot around, adjust your hands and position yourself in such a way. But I find this much more convenient and easier to work with if you're not freaking out about, oh, I'm going to touch my finger on something. You know what I mean? I prefer to just rotate, move things around. Nase? Oh, almost missed it. All right. I'm going to dot in between, also on the line. What should we do next? What do we want to do next? Do you guys have any ideas? Okay. What if we do like a larger dot right here in the middle? Do I like that? I think I like that. What size larger dot would we do? Let's have a look at my dotting tools over here. A 5.5, which is filthy for some reason. I would compare this to the top of my pencil eraser in terms of size, in case you're using things from home to be dotting with today. That's what we want to, that's the kind of size we're going for. Now remember, this paint is going to give me peaks. On this size, I think I might like to leave the peaks in place. So we'll see. Let's go right in between, but not touch. Yes, I like that. I don't know about the peak though. I might flatten it out. The thing is, it doesn't look that awesome when you flatten it out over here, right? I might have to do something with that. I might actually just switch the paint and multi-surface. See you later. Actually, I don't mind the peak. There's something about the texture of it. You know what I mean? That's actually one of the things I really like about dot painting is that texture aspect, that you can run your hands over a completed dot art piece and feel all of the different dots, the elevations. It's a really sensory. It's a pleasure. You know what I mean? So what makes something acceptable or not acceptable? The peak or no peak, or the color scheme, or whatever. Bro, if I knew, I wouldn't tell you, because you got to pick what you like. You don't like a peak? Don't use a peak. You hate the color white? Go for red. I don't care. Do what you want. At the end of the day, it's your art, and it should be coming from you. And I used to hum and haw, and what if that doesn't look good, and what if somebody says something? Yeah, I don't care anymore. Now I just enjoy making stuff. And sometimes the stuff comes out beautiful, and sometimes not so much. But that came out great. Like that. And yes, I am feeling the peaks for right now, so we're going to leave them. Now, I'm thinking it might be nice to do like a swipe, which I haven't done in a while. Do I want to do a swipe here, or do we want to walk some dots first? I think a swipe is in order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a dot high up here, and then I'm going to drag it down so that the tail of it thins out and kind of points to this dot like an exclamation point. That's the plan. So how big of a dot do we want to start with? I think I'm just going to do the 3 millimeter. I don't want it to be huge. And then we're going to decide if I want to put one on each side and kind of do like one in the center and 2 flowing out. We'll see. All right, let's give this a good stir. And I want a lot of paint on my stylus right now because I want this to be bigger than a 3 millimeter dot, really. I'm kind of cheating. I could use a different. Am I right on the line? I think so. Okay, I'm going to go right there. This paint is going to be a challenge. It's all right, I'm up for it. Okay, and now I'm going to actually use my thinnest. Look at how thick this paint is for real, though. I'm going to use my thinnest stylus, which is a 0.8 millimeter. I'll use that end. And we are going to take the paint and drag it. Beautiful. I think I'm going to leave that skinny. Now, sometimes I have two versions of a swipe, okay? This is version number 1, which I just made crooked. Do not talk when you're swiping, Mary, because like I don't have the hand-eye coordination. Okay, so this is what I call the long swipe, which is long and narrow. And then I've made some that I call the ice cream cone swipe, which are the dot is really thick on top and you just do a really small peak. And I like both. They're very different. There is an artist, a dot painting artist. What's her name? I think it's Thoughtful Dots. Her name is Demi, if I'm not mistaken. Super, super talented artist. And she does these swipes using a paintbrush and they are stunning. Like, you definitely need to practice your butt off to get to her level. And by all means, have a look at her stuff. And that is something to aspire to. But you're definitely going to need to be practicing. This is an easier way of going about it. Okay. All right, you know what? I am going to break my own rule. Only because it's a stupid rule, okay? It's a stupid rule. We're going to break it. We're going to break all the stupid rules tonight. I started with a multi-surface paint and I hate it. I hate the consistency of it. It's not doing what I want. So we're going to sayonara to you. I'm going to go to my trusty acrylic Dollarama paint from Deco Art, which is a much more pleasant consistency. And we're going to hope that it performs better and holds on to these lids, because the whole reason why I wasn't using this paint in the first place is because these are very smooth lids, and I was a little concerned the paint wouldn't hold. But I'd rather it not hold than stress me out right now, because dot painting is supposed to be zen. Do you see the difference? Tell me I'm wrong. Like the thickness of this paint versus that. Now, I'm going to say it again. There are additives that you can mix into your paint to change the consistency. There's tons of them. I think Liquitex makes some. Like, seriously, look into it, try it out, see what blows your hair back. But for me, I'm not interested. I don't really like mixing things in, because then you're going to be playing this consistency game. And I don't have that kind of patience. So if I don't like the consistency of a paint, I'll just use it for a different project. That's all. All right. There's a bubble in this one. Okay, so here's how I usually do it. I take some paint and I go straight down first. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, now I'm going to grab some paint on the left side and kind of pull down on the left side of that swipe. Then I'll grab some on the right and pull down on the right side of that swipe. And then ultimately, I'm going to try to taper off at the bottom. Okay. That one came out a little crooked. Good. I like when they're crooked. All right. I feel like I'm crooked here. Now, when you want the bottom to be thin, you got to be very careful about how much paint you have on your stylus when you go down that direction. Or you're going to end up with a thick bottom. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like me a thick bottom, but not on these, okay? I need to pop that bubble or it's going to irk me. And also, here's an IHC quick tip. Always, always pop your bubbles. I repeat this in every one of my dot painting videos because I feel so incredibly strongly about it. Always pop your bubbles because if you don't, they will pop themselves, probably when you're not paying attention, and then they're going to dry that way and you're going to curse. I'm just saying. All right, here we go. Beauty. Beautiful. All right, we're doing great. We got 2 more left, and then we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do next. This paint has a lot of bubbles in it, so I got to keep my eye on that. Because remember how I feel about bubbles. Okay. Oh, I don't even want to touch that. That tapered so beautifully. All right, don't touch it then. What are you doing? That's a short one. I should have made it longer. What do I want to do about that? Do I want to fix it? Okay, so let's talk about this. I could fix this right now. It's wet. There's enough room between the swipe and these dots that I might be able to wipe it up with a Q-tip without much hassle. I could easily do that, but I'm not going to because I don't care. And it really comes down to that. I just don't care. I don't think you're going to be able to notice it that much when the whole pattern's done. And if you do, 2 thumbs up to you and let me know in the comments because I'll be impressed. But I'm not going to stress myself over it. It is rare that I will fix a mistake, only if it really irks me or if it's going to screw up my pattern in some way. All right. That's the last one. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but can you see the difference in the texture of the paint now that these ones are kind of dry? My first 2 were done with that multi-surface paint that's got that really thick texture. Can you see how it has, like, it's just not smoothing itself out as it dries, whereas these ones with the acrylic paint are smoothing themselves out. You see, I should have just caved in and done it from the beginning, but c'est la vie. Okay, I want this up here. What are we going to do next now? What do you guys think? Tell me what you think in the comments, guys. In the chat, what should we do next? Okay. So some options are we can add a couple more of these on the side so that you've got like a plume, which I kind of think I want to do, but I think I want them to be lower. So not even, but like down here. So this one stays the longest and then we'll have one here and one here. Do I want to do that? And then what? We'll pull the tail down to the sides. What do you think? Is that a good plan? I think I'm changing my mind. I think I want to focus less on these and more on these dots. Maybe we'll make bigger dots that extend out. And then what? I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see how it goes. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, those were a 5. Yeah. It was a 5.5 we did, right? Boom. Yeah, that was a 5.5. So let's go like to a 7. Can I find a 7? Oui, 7. Well, no, 5.5. Let's go 6.5. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if I'm going to love this or if I'm going to hate this. I think I'm going to love it. I just got to keep an eye on my finger. I love it. Good call. Okay. What I mean by keep an eye on my finger is my pinky finger is what I use to rest my hand while I'm dot painting. Now, there are a lot of artists that do not rest their hand at all, and I am in awe of them because that means they have the dexterity to hold their hands up. I'm impressed. I do not own this skill. So I rest my fingers, which is why I got to be careful at all times to be aware where my pinky is about to rest so that I don't destroy anything I've already done. Beautiful. So I just want it to be one size bigger. Oh, okay. You know what? Forget that. I have this. That's easier. Pop your bubbles, friends. Very nice. Now there's a lot of space in between all of these things that I'm doing, as you must have noticed by now. And that to me is the mark of a beginner versus an experienced dot painter. Experienced dot painters pack all of their dots in, and it's like a carpet of dots, which is beautiful and difficult because you have to be very concise. You need to know exactly how much paint, how big your dot's going to be, etc. So I don't really subscribe to that level of stress when I'm dot painting. I do dot painting because I find it peaceful and I make beautiful things without being able to freehand draw, which is not a talent of mine. And it's a lovely way to manage your blood pressure. As long as you don't make it stressful on yourself, which is, you'll notice, not what I do over here. I generally try to be as chill as possible while I'm dot painting. Because if I'm going to be stressed out, like, what is the actual point? I feel like I'm somewhat in the center. I did pretty good on my spacing. I mean, not quite, but, you know, I'll live with it. It's not that bad. Okay, so that was a 6.5. The one before it was a 5.5. Now, do we go like really, really big? Do we do like an 11? Well, the last one was a 6.5. 11's a lot. Why don't we jump up to like 9.5? Let's see if I can find that. 8. All right, I found a 9. 9 will do. It's actually a miracle I haven't lost any of these dotting tools in all this time. Okay. I'm going to actually give myself a little bit more paint because when you're using a big dotting tool like this one that has a large end, you want to make sure that you have, oh, wow, that almost went right in my wet paint. You want to make sure that you have a deep paint pool so that you're not touching the bottom. You want to get a really nice coverage of your dotting tool with paint. So the best way to do that is to have a lot of paint available to you. All right, we're going to go for the big guy. Here we go. I feel like this is a little crooked. Beautiful. Oh, that's going to look so cool. So how do you plan out a mandala? You're watching me. I had no plan other than it's going to be white. And I wanted to do a mandala on this one, which means, you know, you're going to make this kind of basic round pattern. But what I put where or how, we're coming up with it as we go. Imagine how cool this is going to look on top of my candle. This is going to be super cool. You know what? I might even go back later on these really smooth dots. I might even go back with that multi-surface paint and dot a little bit on top to get the peaks so that they kind of match each other just out here. I might do that for real, but I want to make sure that these are really well dry before I do anything like that, because I don't want my top dot to blend into my existing first primary dot. Beautiful. Now, a lot of those have bubbles, so I'm going to go ahead and pop them bubbles. Sometimes they look, you think you popped them, but they actually just snuck under the surface and they're like, ha, I'll get you anyway, bro. I hope so, I mean. If it comes to the surface after and I don't notice, I'm not going to be happy about it. Okay. All right. All right, what are we going to do next? What if we walk some dots down from those big ones all the way around? Do I like that? Do I not like that? I can't decide what I want to do over top of the swipes yet, so we're going to leave that. I might actually just leave it with nothing else, but first I feel like I want to add some, let's do some small dots coming down off around those big ones. I think that'll look cool. But before I do that, I'm going to have a sip of water because I'd be talking a lot. Always remember to hydrate, friends. Okay, so on top of them, look at this bubble. This guy's just going to tick me off, eh? All right. You want to play? We'll play. I seem to have roughly the same amount of space above each of these, pretty much. Like some of them are a little iffy. So I'm going to go with a 2.5, which is a little on the chunkier side of all the styluses that we have. And I'm going to drop a dot right on top. Boop, just like that. I had a little spaz there. I started moving the lid around. You'll notice that my hand is shaking a little bit more now because I can't place my finger the way I normally do. I'm now resting it against the side of the lid, which is, meh. It's not my favorite position, but we do what we got to do. We adapt. If you're just joining me, I am currently dot painting the lid of a candle jar because I'm going to make a candle with it on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So come and join me. We can make the candles together and then we'll pop the lids on top when we're done. It's going to look sick. Okay. Now let's do a little walk the dots around. How far down do I want to go though? I don't know. We'll let the spirit move me. We'll see. I'm going to start here. Beautiful. Okay, so I didn't actually mention that I flipped my stylus over and I'm using the top half. And this is I would say this is a 1.25, comparable to something like the top of shish kebab skewer, or maybe the tip of a pen or a pencil. You could totally use that to do this. I'm not comfortable going over this side to do my walk the dots. So I'm going to come back to this and we'll do it upside down. And I'll show you what I mean by that when the time comes. This technique that I'm using right now is called walk the dots. It's one of my favorites. And I will explain it once I stop doing it, because I don't want to talk and mess it up. So basically walking the dots is really simple. You're going to dip your stylus into the paint only one time, and then you're going to keep dotting until you run out of paint. And because that paint is gradually dropping onto your surface, it's going to get smaller and smaller, resulting in smaller dots. It's a super easy technique to practice. Very effective, and something I really recommend you practice doing. Now, I don't like to practice. I think it's boring. So I don't practice using practice sheets. I practice by making things. So for example, when I was practicing walk the dots, one time I decided to make a cross out of it. So I had a wood cross for Easter, and I got a bunch of different colors, and I just walked the dots all over that cross. And boy, oh boy, did it come out beautiful. Actually, Mary from the future is going to put that video right up here in the corner if you're watching this in the replay, because that is a stunning cross. And let me tell you, it was a perfect project for practicing something like walk the dots. It helped me continue to master the skill and make something beautiful at the same time, rather than just having a practice paper. But if you like practice papers, go for it. Okay, so here's what I mean by I'm going to do it the other way. Because I don't want to cross my hand over to do the edge, this opposite end, I'm going to do it exactly like I just showed you. I'm going to start with this at the bottom, and I'm going to dot upwards this time so I can get that other side instead. It'll make it easier for me to maintain. You're going to see I keep checking my hands for paint because I don't want to accidentally touch something because I've done it before. All right, here we go. I really struggled with this technique when I first started dot painting, because it's really easy to run your dots into each other. So the more you do projects like this, the better you'll become at spacing and moving things around so that you get the right angle for what you're going for. All right, now we got to figure out what to do next. What to do? Okay, what do we want to do next? What do you guys think? I feel like I definitely want to do something on top of the swipe. Like, it just feels like an empty spot to me. But what do I want to do? What if I put a dot over top and then dot away? But they're all kind of crooked, so it's going to be hard to do that. What if I put another dot right in the center here, but smaller? Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to go with 4.5. Bueno. So instead of putting it on the top of the swipe, I'm actually lining it up with this row of dots and putting it between those dots. So it doesn't actually matter if it lines up with the swipe or not. And also, I don't care. I really don't care if they are off center of each other. It's not a big deal. It's still going to look beautiful in the end. Yeah, those are really out of whack with each other. Who cares? Let that be a lesson to you. Even if you use guidelines, if you want, you can totally still screw it up. Okay. I feel like we're going to do a couple of finishing touches, and then we're going to move on to the next lid because this is well and truly covered. We'll move on to our next design, but I think, what do I want to do? I think I'm going to do... What do I want to do? I think I'm going to do 3 dots in a row in between these. Boop, 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 like that. And then we'll do it around here again. I think that'll look cool. So let's go with the 1mm stylus. And we're going to go right here. 1, 2, 3. And they're dropping down in size because I'm doing this like walking the dots. 1, 2, 3. Now, how do you avoid the drop in size? Well, you don't walk the dots, which means you have to put your stylus back into the paint after every single dot. That's how you would maintain equal dots. But I would like it to walk. Very nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Where should we do more? Should we do it here? Should we do it in between? Yeah, let's do it in between, like over the swipe, under this dot. I think that'll look cool. Let's see. But do I want it to be a walking the dots? Yes, I do, because I think it'll look cool. So let's go. But let's do 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. We're going to do 5. Okay. I'm seeing some major bubbles in these dots, and I think I might have waited too long. They might be drying too much. No, it's okay. It's okay. Oh, I should have cleaned my stylus off. It's too much paint. I think I'm going to do the same thing. Oh my God, I did that so crooked. Who cares? I'm going to do the same thing on the top row over top of that, but I'm going to go in the opposite direction so that the biggest dot is this on this side now. So let's do that. And apparently we're going to go with 6 on the outside, which makes sense. Boop. I missed one. Okay. All right. What do you guys think? Are we done? I have one more thing I want to do, and it is the tiniest of the tiny things, but I think it's going to tie everything together. And what it is I'm going to just put one dot in between here. Boop, 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 all the way around, so that we get that kind of like continuous all the way around. So we'll start right here. You. And when I'm done this row, I shall consider you fini. So here's a good question. How do you know when your mandala is done? Do you know? Because I don't know. I think mine is done when I decide I'm done. And I just go, yeah, that's good. That's enough. That's plenty. And I think these dots are going to get me to that finish line right now. And then we're going to move on to the next lid. And we're going to do something totally different. We'll see what we decide to do for that. Do you see where I have my pinky on this table? Like I'm asking about Grey Poupon. But I really am trying hard not to touch my nails on these dots. All right, this is the last dot. Are you ready? Boop. We're done. One lid, fini. What do you think? We started off like this. We ended up like this. Cool, right? That wasn't so hard. Now you go ahead and dry. I'll leave you over here in the corner. And what are we going to do with your friend? Okay, so I do have a stencil here. I was debating. I also have a wood star that, like, you know, I could trace around and we could dot the star onto this, which would be really cute. I have a couple of stencils. I got this at Dollar Tree, the stencil, a long time ago, with like some graduated hearts and starbursts and little stars, but they have snowflakes. And I thought, well, that's kind of cute, right? Like a couple of snowflakes. We can totally dot paint snowflakes. That's all day, right? Okay, so let's do that. I'm trying really hard not to touch that so that I don't screw it up. Let me sharpen my, do I have a sharpener? I might have to do it unsharpened. No, I found one. Don't worry. Panic not. Here we go. It's my little heart-shaped sharpener. Okay. You always got to be gentle when you sharpen a chalk pencil, because it hates its life and it wants you to hate yours. So, okay. I'm going to try to hold this in place because this is not as floopy as my silicone mold was. It'll be a little bit more of a challenge. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. I used to laugh like that when I was younger. You know, like when you can't get air and you start just like squealing like that. It's kind of embarrassing for everybody involved, really. So in terms of these chalk lines afterwards, they're really, really simple to get rid of, which is why I love using the chalk pencil. And there's a couple of options of how you could do it. You could use a damp Q-tip and just, you know, keep rubbing it out, and it definitely will come off eventually. Or you could use a regular eraser, and that works like gangbusters. Like, it's super good. So I usually use an eraser. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that a bit, right? I can see it well enough that I don't have to be too concerned. Wait, this is a little... Okay, good. I like that big one over there. And now let's do... Do I want another big one? No. I say we go with two small ones. One here, and then the smallest one on the top. Let's make it a little bit like that. Okay. This is exactly why I sharpened it, because it loses its sharp in no time. Oh. Hey guys, can you tell Mary's getting frustrated? I'm gonna actually just use my pencil. Okay. That's good. One more sharpening, because this is getting sketchy. Okay. Let's put the teeny tiny one over here. Be my friend, okay? Be nice to me. Oh, oh boy, that is so typical of me. It's almost unbelievable. It's typical. Yeah, this is sketchy here. See that? Oh, bro, come on. Let's be friends. I might have to start using like a knife, because as if I have knife skills or something. So I didn't actually get anything on here. Okay, great. Fantastic. This is not going to end well. I feel like this would have been way easier with a regular pencil. But, who cares? We'll get there in the end. It's just a snowflake. It's not that hard. If I can't get the shape on here, we'll freeform try to figure it out. Okay. Yeah, that was horrible. All right. We'll see how it goes. We're going to start with the other two first, and then I can't even see it, like barely. Or maybe I won't even put one there. We'll see. We'll leave it for now and decide later. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. All right, guys. Let's see. Has my paint gotten gross? Un poquito. But that's okay. We're going to add some more on top. So for this design, I'm going to stick with like some really small dots. So I would recommend, if you're following along at home and you're using household items, that toothpicks would probably work really well for this. Not necessarily the pointiest part, but you might want to, like, if you have the type of toothpick that's flat on the bottom, that would be really good. Or you could try to, oh, you know what else is really good to use? A Q-tip. You can totally take the cotton off of the end and use just the stick itself. Or you could really saturate the cotton and use that too. That's another great size dot. Okay, I'm actually going to use, I think, my number 1 millimeter for this. And we're going to start with the medium-sized snowflake first. Now, for this, I'm going to actually make them even-sized dots as opposed to walking the dots, except for right at the end where we will walk the last few dots right here to fade them out. Yes, mi piace. I do think I will do one with a star. I love me a nice star. Beauty. Stop scooting around. This lid is like, I'm out of here. Okay, one more and we're going to dot it out. Beautiful. Can you guys see that? Cool, right? I really should have been counting how many dots I'm putting on each of these. It would be easier to keep them roughly the same length. But I'm not sure if you got the memo yet, but I don't really care. It's not that big of a deal. All right. Now, let's do the little bits that shoot out the side. I feel like they should be smaller. So let's go down a size. We're going to go to the teeny tiny guy, to the 0.8 millimeter. But I'm going to put quite a lot of paint on it so that I can get the biggest of the dots possible from this kind of tool. And we'll go. Yeah, that's great. Walk the dots. Oh, shoot. Okay. I actually just ran 2 dots together. Right there. Ooh, this is questionable here. Okay. Now, it's so close to other wet dots that this could be a disaster if I try to clean it. So should we try to clean it? I think I am going to try to clean it, actually, which is not something I normally do if I can avoid it. Do I have any pointy ones? I don't have any more of those Q-tips. I used to have these Q-tips that are for doing your makeup, so they're pointy. That really helps. All right. Oh, that went super well. Beautiful. Woo-woo. Crisis averted. Okay, so we're going to give that a second to dry. I'll come back and do that later. Okay. So let's do this one. Beauty. Oh, that one went really long. Who cares? What do you think? Cute, right? Cute little snowflakes. I'm doing 4 on the bottom row and 3 on the top ones. So this one's going to have 4. Good. And now the top one's going to have 3. Beauty. Now we'll fix the one that we screwed up before. Beautiful. That looks great. What do you think? So cute, right? All right, let's do the big guy now. I'm going to do a 1 millimeter again. Or do I want to go up a little bit for that one? You know what? I'll do the top of it, which is 1.25, which all of them are, if I'm not mistaken. Boy, do I repeat myself a lot. Quelle surprise. Okay, so I'm going to dot right in the center. And then again, we're going to keep grabbing paint between each dot so that I can make them somewhat even in size until right now. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now let's go straight down. You watch that finger, young lady. My pinky's trying to be rebellious right now. Beautiful. Nice. Oh, I almost dotted again, which would have made my dot too small. Okay, right here we're going to start. Nice. All right. Now we're going to do the little pieces that stick out. I don't know what you call that. The pretty. And these ones we're going to walk the dots all the way. And I'm using the correct 1 millimeter side. So we're doing 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That's good, but I think they look better when they kind of go up a little bit more like V-shaped as opposed to opened out like that. So I'm going to try to V them up a little bit more. Put a little starch in your V. Oh, that sounds terrible. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, that's better. When it's like little hands in the air going, yay! Good. This one's like totally dry now. So if I accidentally rub my pinky on it, it's not going to be the end of the world, but we're still going to try to avoid that. It took too long. One more. Oh, I really made these ones go straight up. That's okay. It looks good. Beautiful. Do I want to put one more here? I think I do. Okay, I'm going to try to see if I can guess at the way this was supposed to be here. We're going to use the smallest one. Okay. Doing basically, I think 4 or 5 of the same size. All right. I mean, it's a little wild, but whatever. It's fine. I don't want to go any lower than this. I mean, I could try to use this to get even smaller dots, but I'm happy with this size dot, so we'll stick with it. Those look a little long. I'll try to make these ones shorter. I did 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. I think that's better. One, two. 1, 2. I could use another dot. Right there. All right, we're on the last one. Okay, be careful with that finger, Mary. Beautiful. What do you think of this guy? Pretty, right? I'm pleased with that. We've got 2 beautiful designs. That one's mostly dry. All right, we're going to go for one more. We are about an hour and 17 minutes into this, and I am happy to keep going. So we're going to do another one. What are we going to do on this one? I'm kind of still feeling the star idea. Now, there's 2 options. I have this one, this wood one, that fills up quite a lot of the room. Or I have the stencil. Which one's better? This one's bigger. It fills up more room. I think I'll do this one. And then what? Do I put little stars? Or do I do this one here in the middle and then do a couple of stars? Nah, I think just one in the middle is going to be fine. So then we'll do the biggest one. Or should I do a heart instead of a star? I don't know. This is supposed to be like winter. Oh, I like the heart though. Oh, what do I do, guys? Do I do a heart or do I do a star? What do you think? Heart or star? Heart or star? Heart or star? Okay, because we're talking about like winter / Christmas / holiday, I'm going to actually go with the star. And we're going to do a heart. I don't know, maybe on Valentine's Day. We'll see. Nice sip of water. All right. I like the way that this is pointing in that direction, and then my star is going to be. I love it. That looks pretty. All right. Do you guys think that's in the middle? I think that's close enough to being in the middle. Squeaky, squeaky chalk pencil. I just feel like you're really trying to get all the attention right now, and it's so unnecessary because you're literally the star of the show at this moment. So all this squeaking nonsense is so unnecessary, you know? Like, try to find your chill. No, eh? All right. Do you, boo? Did I just stick my finger in that? No. Oh, it was a miracle. It was a miracle. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to give me a guideline. Okay. Beauty. Beautiful. Okay, so what I think we're going to do with this is I'm going to outline the outside using what size? Do I want a small dot or a bigger dot? We'll do a smaller dot. How's my paint doing over here? Are you gross? Yeah, you're a bit gross. You're more than a bit gross. What do I think? Do I want to keep using you, or am I going to abandon you and get some new paint? Ah, you're fine. You're going to be all right. Shake it off. Get up, walk around. You'll be all right. Okay, here we go. So we're starting with the 1mm stylus. My hand is getting increasingly dirty as time goes on. I'm going to do this as a walk the dots, which is something I actually really enjoy doing in outlines because it gives you that added little bit of visual texture because of the difference in the size dots. I'm doing about 6 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I like it. I like that these edges are rounded on this star. Which they're really not supposed to be because it's not that round on the wood piece, but I like it. Oh, that's so pretty. That came out so great. I'm very pleased. All right. Now, what we're going to do on the inside of this is something that I really enjoy doing is when you pick a random shape like this or a design of some kind and you give it a really nice outline and then fill it with varying sizes of dots. I love the way that looks. It gives it a lot of dimension and stuff. So I'm going to start with the biggest dot I'm probably going to put on here, which will be a 4.5. That's a bit big, actually. Do I have a 4? Do I have 4? 4, 4. Whippy. Yippee. Okay, so we're going to use the 4 first. Give this a good stir. Because you're getting gross again. So is my cleaning rag over here. But don't worry, I have a backup. I learned my lesson. Okay. That one's a little warped, but that's okay. I'll do a couple more. Okay. I'm happy with that. Or do I want to put one more right here? This guy. That spot was screaming for it. All right. Now let's go down to the 3mm stylus, which is the biggest one of the styli. How do you say stylus in plural? I have done it multiple ways. Styluses, styli, or just stylus. And just like, you know, how you say horse, horses, fish. I don't know. This is a pretty big one as well, so we're not going to do a lot with this. Okay. Now I'm going to go with the other side, the 1.25 side, and we're going to see if we can really fill this in to get, you know, an almost full star. Doing this takes a lot of discipline because if you, it's easy to be like, yay! And then all of a sudden you're dotting over things you didn't want to dot on. So you really got to control thyself, you know? Sometimes you get a little, ooh, this is so much fun. And then all of a sudden you're double dotting something that you didn't intend to. So, you know, control thyself. Or hell, go for it. I mean, it's yours. A double dot's not going to kill anybody. It's getting a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to go down to the smaller dotting tool next so that we can get even more little dots in here. So what do you think? Should I just leave the star and leave everything else the way it is? Like no more dots anywhere else? Or should I drop a few dots around the edges? What do you think? Do you know what might look really nice is if I did a trim all the way around it. I think I will do that. That sounds like a good way to end it. Okay. I would say we are ready to go to the smallest dots possible now. Wait. All right. It's also time to move on to my next rag because this is going to end bad. Okay. So we're going to use the 0.8mm one that's teeny tiny, and we're going to try to fill in all the spots here that are still, I'm not going to like completely carpet this, but I want it to be pretty saturated in dots. I feel like it'll look really cool. So it's going to take a little bit of patience because I'm basically going to go from each little spot to the next. Something I highly recommend when you're dot painting, especially if you're still in the learning phase where you're trying to get steadier with the way you drop your dots and keep spacing and all of that. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is do not, under any circumstance, dot at this speed. I'm dotting really fast. When I first started dot painting, I was super duper slow. There's no way I would have got all of this done in an hour and a half. I would have still been on this star, but that's exactly what you want to do. Like, that's the beauty of doing stuff like this to build your skill set with dot painting. You can make something, and it doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be fun. That's my number one rule. And if you're trying to build your skills, then make it be a project that's going to build something that you're trying to learn how to do. If you're trying to learn how to walk the dots, then do a project where all you do is walk the dots. If you're trying to get steady with spacing, then do a project like this where all you're doing is focused on filling in spaces and not putting the wrong size dot in the wrong space because they're going to overlap each other. These are really fun ways to practice the skills and end up with something really cute in the end. And also something you can look back on, you know, like, and be like, oh my God, remember when I first started dot painting? Look at how spazzy I was. I have a lot of those kinds of projects around, and I love looking at them because it's like a little snippet in time, right? A look at a past version of myself and how far I've come. Less about the skills I've developed and more about the confidence I've developed in not only dot painting, but crafting in general, and being happy with what I've done, not because somebody else likes it, but because I like it. If you don't like it, you're wasting your time. But if you like it, it doesn't matter how wonky it is. It doesn't matter how whack it is. It doesn't matter what anybody else says about it. It's yours. What a fun thing to be able to do, to be creative. And since I can't freehand draw to save my life, dot painting has been such a creative outlet for me because I can make all these beautiful things with literally dots. Like, how crazy is that? I think it's kind of crazy. Okay. What do you guys think? Are we almost done filling in the star? Let me know in the chat. Should I do some more? Or do you think we're dotted out in the star and we should move to the trim? Okay, I'm pleased with that. There's one more that you need one there. I know. Okay, I'm sorry. I got you. This one too. Okay. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everybody's happy now. Okay, so let's do a trim all the way around the edges. Let's do a fairly fat dot. I think I'm going to do this 3. That might be a little too big. Let's go. I haven't used you yet, my favorite pink one. 2 millimeters. Let's go with 2 millimeters. I'm going to add some paint because this paint is really getting to Skis Town degrees. Okay, so that's the 2 millimeter. How am I going to do this? Am I going to start? I don't want to go too close to the edge. Beautiful. Good call, Mary. You really don't know until you do it, you know? You hope, but you don't know. Now, since I don't have a guideline here, I am going to do my best to follow the curve and not let any dots become rogues and get out of line. But you just never know. So once we're done this trim, I consider this lid done. So now we got to move on to the last one. And what are we going to do on there? I don't know. Well, I'm getting a little far away here. That's going to be a pain to get back to now. Oh, not bad. I fixed it pretty quickly. All right. She complains about nothing. Doing a trim like this is a really great way to practice your spacing and uniformity of dots, because you're really trying to get the same size dot, hopefully spaced about the same from the last one. This could use a little mix. Now, if you don't like the space between these dots to be this big, but you're struggling with learning spacing, start with more space, okay? Always more space. You can get closer and closer over time, but start with more space. And you can fill in those gaps with tiny micro dots. And it'll look beautiful. It'll be like a pattern. I've done it in other videos. I actually made a Grim Reaper mandala as part of my spooky season live series this year. And Mary from the future will link that video up here in the corner for the replay. But I did that exact thing on the trim on the outside, where I then added in between dots. Was it the Grim Reaper mandala or was it the ghost face sign? I'm not sure. So just in case it was the ghost face sign, Mary from the future is going to put that up here too. So you can see either or. But it is a technique that I use pretty often so that you don't have to stress yourself about getting these dots super, super close to each other. Once they're nice and dry, you can go back and drop some mini dots in between, and it'll look intentional and beautiful, like a beautiful pattern. I'm getting closer and closer to the edge, so I'm not keeping my circle. Let me try to edge my way back into the center a little bit. So something that I didn't mention, but I did start here, is when I'm doing a pattern that needs to complete perfectly, I try to not put my first dot in a very obvious place. So in this case, I tried not to put my dot on the tip of a star. That way, especially not the top tip. That way, if I mess up my end, you won't necessarily see it because it's not right here. It's not totally drawing your attention. So it's always a good idea to start anything off center so that your last few dots, if they end up a little wonky, they won't be noticed. They'll mix in with the whole thing. Well, I managed not to get too many crazy rogue like dots. Even without a guideline to follow. So yippee. Okay. We're coming up on the last few dots. So this is a judgment call about whether you finish it or leave it. Okay. So right now, technically I could probably fit 2 dots in there, but I'm not confident doing that right now because I feel like they're too wet. 1, 2, and I'm a little scared about it. So I'm going to place one more right beside this guy. We'll put one right there. Yeah, because if I put one in the middle, it's going to be too wide. If I only put one here, I'm going to end up with a tiny, tiny dot beside it. Even if I wait, like in theory, what I would do is put one more dot here, let it dry, and then come back and drop a tiny dot in between. But I feel like that's going to show it much more crowded than I would like. So for this time, I'm going to actually just put a dot in the middle, try to make it a little bit more on the big side, and make sure that it's right in between so that there's enough space on each side that it looks intentional. Just like that. That was the right call. If I had tried to put 2 in there, it wouldn't have gone well. All right, we're done. What do you think? Cute, right? So that's 3. We've got 3 lids. This one's mostly dry now. So let's see what it looks like on top of our candle jar before we move on to the 4th one, shall we? Because I'm just so excited to see. So this is the 15-ounce matte white luxe jar from Village Craft and Candle. It's one of their newest jars. I mean, they had this jar before. They just didn't have this color. Oh my God, get out of here. How cool does that look? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It looks so good. Let's see the, be careful. Let's see the snowflakes. What a cute gift this would be. If you make somebody a scented candle and then you pop on these personalized lids, like get right out of town, okay? We're going to make candles in these jars, in these beautiful jars this weekend on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't miss that because it's going to be a good time. Okay, let's put this over here and you over there too. Okay. Just want to make sure I don't accidentally touch something I don't want to. All right, let's move on to number 4. This is the last one we're going to work on tonight. So we've done a couple of shapes, a mandala. What should we do for this one? Should we do something abstract and random? Should we, what to do? Maybe like do some swirls or just like random dots everywhere, like this kind of style, but all over the lid. I don't know what I would like to do. Should I draw with my pencil and see if something, what do I want to do? Maybe some swirls. Do I like that? I kind of like it, but I don't want to do it with a pre-drawn. I think I'm going to just dot from my heart. Did I get it all off here? I don't want to accidentally get any of these eraser into my wet paint. Okay. Ooh, what to do? Okay, I think I am going to do like a swirl of some kind. Let's see. How are we going to do that? I'm going to start with a 3mm. Okay, that kind of looks like half of a heart. That's okay. We're going to do it in different places. Okay. We're going to see how this turns out. Almost looks like a butterfly. I need to put one in the middle of that. Okay. That looks really cute, actually. I don't know if I'm going to do the whole thing. I feel like I kind of like it on one side. Let's go. What do you think? Should I do it all the way around? I kind of like it just on half. I think I'm going to leave it just on half. I like it. It's like, okay. I feel like this is a less is more situation. I don't want to do too much. I'm going to do one more right here, but I got to be careful. Where do I want to do it from here? Yeah. This is going to be the last one, I think. Yeah. I like it. I like it just like that. We're done. That's how you know when you're done. You're just done. All right. We've got ourselves 4 beautiful lids that are now going to dry. And Santa Maria, if I touch one and ruin it, I will be very upset. What do you think? What do you think? Cute, right? And we made these all off the top of our head with some dotting tools. That's it. No plans, no ideas of what to do. Just I wanted to do white on white. And I'm super excited because now I'm going to make 4 beautiful candles with these jars. I'm going to pop these lids on top and they're going to make beautiful gifts for friends and family during the holiday season. I really, really enjoyed doing this. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really hope you enjoyed doing this too. It was so much fun for me. I really like making these like cozy white on white things. I did a whole black on black on black candle set for Halloween, which Mary from the future is going to link right up here. And I loved the way it looked. Like it was like a black vessel with black wax and a black lid. And we're going to do the same vibe, but white on white for winter. So check that out on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for my pour along. I'm going to show you how I make the candles from start to finish. We're going to melt the wax and we're going to go all the way to the very end where we place our beautifully dot painted lids on top. I'm super excited. Now, if you're new here, be sure to check out my channel. I've got tons of beginner friendly dot painting videos and DIYs waiting for you. Step-by-steps that are highly edited and short, like 5 to 15 minutes. Or I have a bunch of like dot alongs like this one that you can join me and dot along with me. And I'd love to hear if you do. Please comment below. I'd love to chat with you. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!